Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show Trading Idea with SMARTRobie, and we are on the 21st of May. That's right. Now, certain things certainly doesn't look very good, and there were news about the full MCO that will be announced today. So mood is certainly not in the best interest of everyone. Economic is down, and very likely we may be in lockdown. But let's see how the market is reacting this morning. That's right, in here. And there's really more to share with you for our news headline in our Breakfast Show Trading Ideas with SMARTRobie, and I'm your host, Martin Wong. Now let's move on to what we have for you this morning. Definitely is our promotion, and something to cheer you up is our iPad giveaway for the May to June July campaign, which is still going on in here. Submit your best trade idea. No doubt right now the market may be a bit moody, but there is probability in other opportunity. Maybe you have to look at the sectors in here, so we will dive down deep to look into those sectors later on in here in our show. And right now it's Friday. That's right, we'll be looking at premium alert, typically more on those on the hourly chart time frame, and looking for those that is for a quick profit in here. See if you can find it now. Now let's look at our news headline roundup this morning. Now definitely not so good news, which is what we call today. That's what we have, a very somber mood, as I can see here. The COVID cases hit a new record high, and also the number of deaths that you can see on the top side in here. And let me just bring out my laser pointer here. And so at the same time, AirAsia X, with the onslaught of COVID-19, which did started somewhere in December 2019, we are still in the COVID, and you can see the cases continue to rise. So AirAsia X posts one of the big quarterly profit loss in here. More job cuts. Now the question is, will AirAsia X survive through? Now give me what you think, everybody. Now give me your comment. What do you think? Will AirAsia X? Now remember, if AirAsia X were to go down, means there is lack of opportunity for most Malaysians to travel around regionally within the 4 hours anyway. So that would significantly increase the cost of tourism for most people in here. So not a really good thing in terms of it. But having said that, most airlines is facing very difficult in here. Now something on the positive side, and this is from the COH, it says that the vaccine rollout actually helped nation to exit the pandemic faster than that seems to be the current criticism that we have with the Malaysian rollout. I think the entire nation would likely to be vaccinated sometime next year, February. Still way go. I have set up my appointment for the AstraZeneca, and I hope you have done so, especially those of you who are from Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. But I do know some other states are opening up. If you do register for some sort of the vaccine, even right now there are talks about the private vaccinations available, but at a costly price. But more importantly is the statistics that behind why the vaccine rollout is good is the reduction on the symptomatic COVID and also asymptomatic infection, and reduction in all. If you look at it, Pfizer Biotech seems to be the one in the 90s. If you could get that, Pfizer would be definitely the best one in here. But for most of us, like myself, I have registered for the AstraZeneca because you want to get vaccine quicker. That will be the 66% in here. You can see a reduction is only 22%, and reduction in all infection is 54%, which means if you do get AstraZeneca, there is still a chance you're likely to get infection in there. So beware of the statistic they get. And the other one is Sinovac. Now that the stats are out, you could see only Pfizer and Sinovac from the real study from Israel and China. AstraZeneca is from clinical trial in here. We have to do what we best in Malaysia. Of course, some people even thought about, why don't we just wait for the Pfizer? If you can wait for the Pfizer, that will be the best. And I believe many of you who are listening to our audience would also believe that is the same thing too. So that's something good to know, and this is from today's paper. At least we are updated in here. Let's move on to other news. Now, the AirAsia X, about the 5 billion impairment, that's really causing. Let's look at AirAsia X this morning. We type AirAsia X, okay, and you can see the chart. It's still where it is, almost below 10 cents. Now anything that is below 10 cents, usually try to stay away with it because of the market just too volatile. And you notice also on the right hand side the volume seems to be diminishing, and I think this morning this news will probably have an impact too. But all things being said, everything is already in the very negative news. The question is more upside from here rather than downside. So if you look at this news, on December 14, 2020, AirAsia told the stock exchange, which is the public, that they plan to do a cash call and wanted to raise 300 million. Over the last 15 months, it has lost 7 billion on the revenue of 1.1 billion. So number of losses, it's a lot. Maintaining an airline is not cheap, so we can see that when it doesn't have any business, that's where you're going to get this kind of issue right now in here. So all being said, let's move on to our probably a better news on the construction side in here. So if you look on the construction side by LBS, which focus a lot on low cost housing estates in here, property, and sorry, this is a property play, not so much on the construction in here. And we all know property has been in the downtrend for some time already, and a revival of the economy. Again, going back to the earlier news that I talked about, the rollout of the vaccine is very important. I think many of our audience already know that and longing for also a vaccine here. So going back to the property sector for LBS Bena, the recovery that we have over the last couple of MCOs has proven to be good for LBS overall bottom line. That the net profit doubled up to 25.34 million compared to a year ago, 18.6 million. But before that, let's look at what the market has to offer this morning, which we have not checked it out yet. As I said before, if you look from the chart wise, you got the yellow trend zone that we see on the right hand side. That's still functioning as towards to the downtrend. Right now we have this support around 1560, which must hold, else with a lot of bad news that we're seeing, the full lockdown, the market will probably take impact. Usually how I see this chart right now, the full MCO maybe for Selangor, but the full country may not be, because we don't have pretty much a sell off here. But let's take a look at the market this morning, and let's see how much is it. Oh yeah, it is down 11%, so we are very close. Okay, you can see on the right hand side 1563, the support level is 1560. So once you break that, that tells you, the KLSE it's going to spiral into a downtrend, and you've been warned earlier, much earlier, on the red pentagon in here. So a truly a good indicator for many of you who want to trend and trade with the trend. All right, so nothing's very hot. Even the recent trade idea that we did pick it up just before Hari Raya, 7th of May, which I will update you shortly. Okay, and let's look at our next news, which is the oil and gas play. Again, the oil and gas play seems to be a recovery that we see worldwide, with the opening of many economies, especially the US economy being the biggest consumption of petrol in here. And the company says that the company revenue should see a recovery, but a bit milder. And if you look at Dialog so far that we have, and DIL, okay, let's hit that one, and let's look at the chart wise. Switching a wider chart, you can see it has continued to spiral down way back from 3 ringgit 20 cents up to now about 280. So let's look at it. And if you look on the Pentagon fact, you could save yourself probably about 8% loss since the spiraling down of the red Pentagon on the 19th of March. So what has happened is the lower price, target price, has been priced in by UOB Kay Hian, one of the analysts, calling it a target price to be 340. But right now you could see, let's look at the stock price, live stock price right now, and the price right now is, all right, now we just have to wait for the thing to feedback. Yeah, that's right. It's down to minus 0.7% at 290 inwards. Okay, 290 inwards. So when is it time to buy? Very simple. Use the trading plan here if you want to hit that one. And Okay, we just have to wait for the response to come in. Okay, and we will see where this thing is going to go next. All right, there you go. Trading plan just pops up here, and just about a minute. So you can see here, thing to buy Taliwrk. Okay, let's scroll back up again. Thing to buy Taliwrk. Oh, now it's $2.90. Okay, at what price is that? $3. Okay, or at a pullback price $3. Now do take note. Some people say, hey, why is the pullback price $3 but $2.90 is better? Right now, remember, do not ever buy on the falling knife. Okay, a lot of people try to average it down and don't. Now that you have the green pentagon, just wait. Stay out of the market. And remember, those of you who are with us and running those fixed rules, which I always talk about in our workshop. If you have not joined us for our next workshop, but not this weekend workshop, this weekend workshop will be something different. We will be focusing on personal finance, which we will talk towards later on this show. All right, and let's talk about the pullback now. The pullback is at $3. Right now it's $2.90, which means it is continuing to fall, what we call in a downtrend. It's a falling knife. So when it's come to a falling knife, just like it's falling, you don't want to be catching that falling knife. Let it drop. I don't know how low it's going to go, but definitely one of the signal of it would be the climatic volume, that which we always talk about in our masterclass, and many of our members who are watching today do know about that. But right now you could see Taliwrk may not be the best, but check out BAT. Remember, all the consumer stocks now are playing defensive. Usually that's always the case when the economic recovery, like now we see, will slow down because potential full MCO 3.0, okay, lockdown. That's why all the defensive stocks will come out, that your little Carlsberg, and remember, Carlsberg and Heineken already reported, and we will go on to the next news here. Now the next news is on construction. This time is Sunway Construction. So you can see Sunway Construction again from previously are benefiting from the rollout of a couple of big projects, the TNB campus, Petronas National. And what it simply says, the billing is in and they are reporting fairly good results. 24% year-on-year increase for net profit in here, and boosting a bottom line profit of 20.24 million compared to the last quarter. Let's look at Sunway Construction here. Sunway Con. Right, and we just have to wait for it to come out. It's a bit slow this morning here. Okay, there you go. And look at, all right, Sunway Construction, and again with the red pentagon that you see. All right, the red pentagon over there, that probably tell you a picture where we are right now. It's still in downtrend, broken below the ATR stop loss, so it's going to be a pretty long period to really, we have to wait. If you want to get Sunway Construction, if you are positive about Sunway Construction, but don't switch over to the hot sectors and check out what is the hotter sector in here. Now remember, sometimes when we see news coming out like what we reported on Star, on the CEOH, generally these already been priced in. Now it would be positive, at least in the market that is bullish. But right now, if you check the major KLCI, we know early on we talk about it, it is in the yellow trend zone. So yellow trend zone means it is still continuing to going to move down. Nothing much is going to be very positive. So you are trading against the trend. The trend is heading down. You're trying to buy something to buy something going up. So the odds, it's stacked against you. So do take note if you're doing any trades at all. All right. So let's move on to our next news. Okay. Now, next news is going to be on Heineken, something what we talk about defensive. Some of the defensive stocks are moving up, definitely. Yes, I think on Monday, we talk about Carlsberg do reporting well. And again, Heineken is the same thing. Even though Heineken is taking a small hit, let's take a look. H-E-I-M. Okay, Heineken. Okay, there you go. And hit stock comment, stock chart. And switching to a wider chart, it is still holding up a nice space here, but it has broke through the ATR stop loss, so that tells you this stock again trending downwards in here. But all being said, the report talks about the Heineken posted a 30% jump in net profit again. Market recover, the lockdown has eased off. This is way back to March 2020 last year, March 2020 ending to this recent quarter of March 21st, 2021. So that's giving a 30% jump, and again only registering 6% jump in revenue in here. Now do take note, usually the case, if you're going to get a full lockdown right now, going up 3 months from now, this results is going to dip back again. So that is why the market today is reacting to something that's going to be coming up. Now do take note, I always talk about EPS earning, like what you see here in this news, usually lags. The price will move ahead, and what we call try to forecast whether the pricing is going to be down or up. Due to this, if a full MCO goes to, you would likely see Heineken fall, but not fall as much as the other sectors that we talk about here. After all, they are being defensive. Now let's move on to the next news, which is the across to the US market. Now last night, the US Dow Jones did close fairly positive territory in here, and as such, the uptrend of the US Dow Jones market is still intact. It's still going up, just a minor correction in here. Now the question is whether it can retest back the minor high of 34,400 level in here. Right now it's dipped just around 34,200 in here. It has to be some catalyst. Usually the market will move up first, and do look for sign of weakness as the market goes up. If the market goes up, have sign of weakness in here, then we want to see whether it's going to be confirmed sign of weakness or not. And that's how usually we as trader want to look at those things. And you can look for those signs of weakness on the just above me. Click on Trade VSA, SOS, SOW, and those are the what we call leading indicator, will tell you how the market will react to it. But right now, the news that you see on top of me here, upside, is definitely the talk of the town is the cryptocurrency. Now the cryptocurrency has fallen a fair bit on Wednesday night. It has fallen down more than 30%, and I had a session, a good revision session with all our masterclass members in there. We talk about cryptocurrency, we talk about inflation, and we also talk about the technology sector. So you have a pretty update and not be fearful of kind of news that you see inside here. And usually what things that we do for our masterclass member is to really inform them the economics and the macro trends behind it, and also charts. So at least when you come out to the day-to-day, when you see news like that, you don't tend to scramble in here. And one of the things that we do from our coaches and for myself is to share our experience that more that you are pretty not left out of it. And I believe I believe that is the kind of services and product that most public wanted to make sure that they are going in a nice smooth path wherever they're going in terms of their financial goal. And all right, so let's move on to our next news here, and definitely not so much news, it's just more of an update. Our trading strategies continue to stay on, being in the market when the market is good, being out of the market when the market is bad. And it's such that in 2020, when there was a good trend, we are able to capitalize that, producing 106% return on the 35,000. Right now, this 15% may have dipped down a bit, as we are intending to exit another trade today also. So the 15% will not stay here, and we will update in the following shows in our breakfast show in here. The win rate continued to be 75% as of our last count in here. So that is the kind of strategy you want to go forward, continue to be positive despite what we see negative in the KLSE. Now, of course, leaderboard for the past trade idea events continue to stand on this ground, 45% in here. When the market is positive, you'll see a lot of this very quick, big, short burst movement up here. So remember, Premium Alert is updated every 30 minutes. Now let's take a look at some of the stock trade idea that we talk about in LB Aluminum. That was way back in 7th of May, right? That was just before Hari Raya. So let's take a look at it. First one is a pre-star. You can see on the 7th of May, this is where we actually hit high. And take note, when we hit high, you will definitely see also at the same time, wasn't any green pentagon. So why is that? Because the Pentagon guided take into consideration of climatic volume like this. Remember at that time I talked about it, this was a very quick early move, and if the trade don't work, you need to cut, right? And you can see there was no follow through. If you have to cut it, you have a small loss, but if not, there will be a continue. But right now it is close below the ATR stop loss. So once it closes below the ATR stop loss, you will see this trade doesn't work anymore. All right, you will suffer some losses in here. That is the downside of trading the premium alert. It has to be very quick burst, very short term, and try to make a very small percentage, maintaining a new high win rates. But right now, as I said before, the odds usually stack against you. Why? Because there is no trend. Everything that's coming out will be fast, and also smart money will be very, very fast to taking out in there. All right, remember some of the earlier trades that worked very well in January, February, March, those has faded already. All right, so that is one of the great benefits. Despite the market moving higher, you could see the Pentagon did not show any green Pentagon nor any, and subsequently that was right. All right, let's look at the next one, which is also another play on the metal. Remember, all the metals are going through some sort of correction after making new high, and you could see a double top here. That was around 127. Remember, this was on the 7th. Again, very same. Pre-Star and aluminum are the same kind of stocks, and you can see this was also a very high volume, not climatic as such as, you know, in our indicator it will be painted in here. So that's really one of the big benefits, having a plugin. And those of you who have not have a plugin may want to consider subscribing to it. There is the number on the left hand side. You can find out more information. So the market has broken below the ATR stop loss, so that means this is likely to go down. And take a note, you know, usually if the case where the main index, and the main index, if you go back to here, go back to main menu and hit KLCI. All right, this is the main menu. You can see it's already in yellow trend, so it means trends are down. Mostly all the smaller sectors in here tend to follow the big brother, which is just above here. So it's no rocket scientist. If you've been following me for some time, these are the things that professional people look at, and you will probably stay alert and know what are things do you want to watch out. It's more like, you know, you go to the jungle for a bit holiday, for holiday. I know many of you don't like to go to jungle, but you know, right now in the MCO, some of you may want to venture, but at least you have a tour guide. That's me guiding you what are things you should do and what are things you shouldn't do in the stock market when, you know, the environment that we are in are not favorable. All right, just like in the jungle, there are many things you should not do. You know, you have to be very careful, else you get into some sort of difficult challenges in here. All right, let's move on to our this week trade idea in here. Okay, now our trade idea in here is Taliwrk and Granflo. So we're going to look at the trade setup too. Right, that's going to be our fundamental education approach to, you know, really consider if an idea is worthwhile or not. Again, so you can look at Talia's work in here, and you can see the market go through a long congestion of in here. Now they did had earnings, and the earnings was pretty. I'm not too sure about this. You can check out the website here. So you can see we have a green Pentagon up 1%, but market is down 1% in here. So there is a lot of resistance. As I said before, this morning, if you just see above me in here, the market is down minus 12% in here. So that's basically telling you, you know, anything you want to go up, MCO 3.0, push it back down. But we will see whether the sooner the news of the MCO 3.0 is out, the better it is. Then the market will continue to move and taking catalysts from other markets too. All right. So that the next one is let's take a look at it here. Is Granflo. Okay, Granflo, Granflo. So Granflo this morning was a bit higher, and right now just around 10, just short of after 10 o'clock, it had formed an uptrust. Okay, that's telling you, you know, this market in here, any possibility of pushing upwards, profit taking come place, or the smart money wanted to push up, but seeing the situation, they pull back, you know, and they find it's not. But it's worthwhile to examine this trade idea in here, and if you follow the advice of the Pentagon Guider, following SMARTRobie, you might just want to stay out and watch for the time being and focus on the US market right now. You can see on top in here, the beta version of the US S&P 500 and SGX is available for you to just test it out in here, as we in the development are trying to see and straightening up some of these. If you have any feedback on the US S&P 500 and SGX in here, do feedback to us at the support, or just WhatsApp us this in here. And and do take note, the S&P 500 are updated after 4 p.m. So usually when you take a look at it now, sometimes there are some error in here. Is because SMARTRobie are processing the data, so those data are not available, and that's why you see those messages in there. We are trying to improve this to ensure the user experience continue to be very, very enjoyable for many of you, and we welcome your feedback to continue to make our product and services much, much better for everybody in here. All right, do check out the SGX and the US S&P 500 in here. All right, let's move on to the next segment of our show, going back to SMARTRobie again. Okay, and it's this line change in here, the schematic, very important. As you notice, the market after the line change, right, like what we're trying to see just now with Granflo, we have this, but we still have to wait for end of day. So usually premium alert happening around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Remember, every 30 minutes we have this. That's why you can see that upthrust on the Granflo in here. And as such, with the backdrop of a market being very weak, that's why sometimes we look at other markets like the S&P 500 US and the SGX. We have the temporary pullback, which is often, especially when market is bearish, to take note of that one. All right, and those of you who want to learn more, especially if you are number one, first time in here, check out the QR code here for our Pentagon guided training. And don't forget, this is the QR code. We have the workshop ready for you. So I'll be preparing some workshops, some case studies, some you guys things to do. Definitely something that you want to plan out early. If you have not done so, it's good to also to learn and share this with your friend and your children and loved one to learn about financial planning. I think that's important. As part and parcel of why we do what we do today. Try to grow our money, try to make more money, try to make sure our wealth continue even when we stop working, or maybe even having a double income, one income from our productive income which we work, and then another one from our shares, from our bonds and other savings, which we will talk about this tomorrow at 2:30 to 4 p.m. on our Zoom in there. All right, definitely after we finish with our masterclass training, again we emphasize a lot in our training in here, something that you should not miss out. For those of you who are coming for our masterclass training, come in, and when we finish, you can join us in our financial wealth planning in here. All right. So let's, all right, now we're going to go on to the trade ideas and some of your stock pick we're going to examine. Of course, we will usually give priorities to our members, our top fans, and those who have given feedback to our Google Play Store. If you have not done so, we really appreciate if you are doing a good job here. Do give us a feedback in our Google Play Store and Apple Play Store. All right, so let's take a look if we have any takes from the stocks in here. I think so far I don't see any here. All right. Any stocks if you want me to take a look now, right? Probably nothing much right now, isn't it? Everything is already turned yellow zone. If you want to cut loss, you need to cut loss. Those of you hanging on, if you're going to hang on to your stocks in this period, if the market were to break down, ensure that it is a quality stocks, okay? Not the penny stocks. So that's why we always talk about being trained trader and trained investor. The sooner you take that plunge that, yes, I want to be a trained trainer, I want to be a trained investor, then the chance of making money is good. That's why we use that benchmark, 15%. Can you do better than 15% right now from January to May? If you're in negative territory, are you measuring up? And why is that you're doing different? What prevents you from making that lunch? Hey, I want to learn all this, and I want to get the right tools. I want to get somehow the right education and tips. That's something for us to change. And when you are able to make that change, right, then you are on the sound of making good progress. And definitely this Saturday, it's all behind that first change, the financial planning, why we do what we do. Okay. Okay. So LKL, let's look at LKL in here. Now LKL, very nice. We have a line change yesterday, and remember, many of these are quite reluctant. You have the old resistance at 45 cents. You have the pullback. Remember just how we talked about, right? The schematic early on. Whenever the line change happen, right, you will see pullback right now, like what we saw. So the earlier charts, the schematic charts, or what we call them, the conceptual maps, and something that we teach in our masterclass. If you have not come so, do considered for our next intake in June in here. So right now you see pullback in here. Volumes, take note, this upthrust volume are very, very high. Okay, that means the market cannot go any higher right now, at least for the short term in here, because 41, 42 cents, a lot of people are trying to push through it, but in fact, the smart money came in and forced it to sell down. And right now, the volume is lower. It wants to go up, but it need to remove the excess seller in here. Okay, let's take a look at any other stocks. Okay, good one for LKL. It will take some time. You can see also the resistance at 45 cents in here. Okay, we'll take one more or two more of stock pick here. Okay, if there's no more stock pick, we want to close today's session. And thank you for coming. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel to be informed of all our sectors, and do watch some of our education, especially there is a stock market for beginners. It's always good when downtime right now, right? We learn and sort of fill up some of our gaps in our life that we don't do. And don't forget, our submit our best stock trade idea for SMARTRobie in our May to July campaign iPad giveaway in here. There is some great trades, to be frank with you, in here, right? Earlier on, which continue to run. And join our Telegram chat room if you are first time, and do share that with your friends and your colleagues, so they will benefit from many of our teaching and many of our sharing of our experience by our coaches and myself, so you can lead a better journey in your financial goals and making at least more money, not necessarily in the KLSE, but we have US, S&P 500 and SGX. So thank you again, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate those of you who came in and joined me this morning. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow at 2:30 for our financial planning for our financial planning workshop in here, and many we will discuss more. Bye bye.